Hello everyone and welcome back to Python lessons on Codecademy. So today we will be continuing on with the loops course. Last time we covered how to use the for loop in lists and strings mainly. So today, from what I can see, we're doing how to use the for loop in dictionaries. At first you might be wondering what will if you have a for loop and you're listening through a dictionary, what is it going to print, the key or the value of the key? Well, that's what this task wants us to figure out. So on line 5 we need to print the key followed by the value of that key with a space, which I should have read. So how you can see the value of that key is the list and the dictionary and the key. I like to call the key the index because it's a similar thing. So if you have for key in D being the dictionary, key being the variable. If you have print key, then it's going to print the key. And if you have D and then the key in square brackets, then it's going to print the value of that key. Or, yeah, or that index. So it's the opposite of what you would expect it to be because in a list it gives you the value right away. So let's move on. Let's see what this task requires us to do. We don't want the user to see things listed from index 0, since this looks unnatural, because the computer starts counting at 0, but normal humans, from what I know, we start counting at 1. So modify the print statement to reflect this behavior. See the hint if you need help. So uh, we have for index item in enumerate choices. I have never met this kind of a for loop before, where you have two variables. So let's see if we can figure this out. What does this do as it is? So it prints the index and the item that it is. I don't know what enumerate does, so hopefully that's covered in a later topic. So we print the index of the list and each item as well as the item. So how we can do this task, or at least we don't have to understand to do this. We can just add +1 to start counting at 0. That's the simplest way. I don't remember what enumerate does. I will look it up for the next video, hopefully, and start the next video off by telling you guys what enumerate does and how a for loop with two variables works. So stay tuned for that. For now, let's just move on. Multiple lists. Compare each pair of elements and print the larger of the two. So, ooh, okay. Something similar but not the same. So this time we're using zip, list A and list B. Add your code here. So we need to, if A is bigger than B or greater than B, then we need to print A. Otherwise, uh, actually, else if they're equal, then print either. We can print either of them because it really doesn't matter. And if they're not equal or greater, then B is greater than A, which means that we just need to print B. So let's see if this works the way I would expect it to. Yes, it does. Okay, so my guess is what this zip does, or if you have two variables, it it makes A, so it's like having two for loops maybe. So one for loop has the variable A with the list A, and B has the list B. So A looks through A, B looks through B. And then you can use them at the same time to compare which one's greater or to do other things if you need to use two lists in a for loop or a loop. That's just my guess, so I will need to look up what zip does as well. So for now we will just move on. For else. So you can do a loop just like with while, you can put an else after the for loop. So let's see what this task wants us to do. So we just need to click and save submit code to see how for and else work together. Before we do that, let's try and figure it out. So we have print you have, so it's going to be a list. For f in fruits, if f is tomato or tomato, whichever way you want to pronounce it, print a tomato is not a fruit. Well, it actually is. Even I know it is. And then it exits the loop and it doesn't go into the else, I think. Uh, and if it isn't, it's going to continue and print a comma whatever the value of f is. And if it was tomato, it's not going to print this because we've already gotten out of the loop with break. So what this should print therefore is let's see. It should print a banana, a apple, a orange, and then it should print a tomato is not a fruit, break, and that should be all because it's going to skip this if this is the list. Let's see if that's what happens. Yes, it is. So you have a banana, an apple, although that doesn't work, it should be an apple, and an orange, and then it prints a tomato is not a fruit, and it completely exits the loop. So let's continue. Change it up. As mentioned, the else block won't run in this case since break executes when it hits tomato. Modify the code in the editor such that for the for loops, else statement is executed. So we can just get rid of the break. That should fix our problem, which isn't really a problem if you want it to break, depending what you want to do. So now it does the same thing, except for that it even prints tomato, which if this was a normal program, I would put an else there, so that when you get the tomato, it doesn't print a tomato and a tomato is not a fruit, but it just prints a tomato is not a fruit and a pear a grape. So let's see if that's what this is going to do. I'm prepared this time. So yes, it prints a banana, and it should be an apple, an orange, a tomato is not a fruit, a pear, a grape. I've never heard of a grape. Just one piece of grape. Okay. So yes, if it was a real program, and I would probably do something like that. But because it's codecademy, it works. You can still do the task without putting the else in. You just need to get rid of the break. So let's move on. Create your own. To wrap up this lesson, let's create our own for else statement from scratch. Build your for else statement in the editor. Execution of the else branch is optional, but your code should print a string of your choice to the editor regardless. So I will do something simple, but at home, well, yeah, I'm at home, but you guys at home, my viewers, can experiment a bit more with this, and I will try to explain how. So let's just see how this works out. I will just put a for and an else right now, so that I don't forget that I need to do an else. So we need to print a string of your choice to the editor regardless. So let's just make a list, numbers list, because that's the simplest, equals, and what should we make it? Let's make it numbers, I guess. That's what I was thinking at first, but then I thought maybe we should make it a dictionary. But I think that we will just stick to numbers. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I don't like having the comma there. 3, 4, 5, 6. And I missed out a number. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to 20. Actually, there's a simple way of doing this. We can just do range 21 and start at 1. And that's going to make the same list. And I don't know why I was bothering to make a whole list of numbers by myself. That does it for me. So for n in numbers list, I want to print. So let's print if the number is odd. Let's not print it. Let's print every even number. And just to prove that this list contains all of the numbers from 1 to 20, we'll print the list beforehand. So let's do that. And then let's print if, oops, I need a blank space there. So let's check that n is divisible by 2 by doing the modulo operator. Then we need to print n. Otherwise, we don't need to do anything because we don't want our odd numbers to be printed. Else, when are we going to break? So let's see, lf n equals, what should we make it equal? If it equals 50, then let's break. And I will run this program twice using my Python. And I will do numbers list.append. If I can spell it out correctly without using irregular capitalization, is that even a word? I just made it a word. Numbers list dot append, and let's append 50. And I don't know if you can do this, but I will try. And let's append all of those numbers if it works. So when it gets to 50, it should break. Oh, we need an else as well. Else, the for loop was run successfully. For loop was run successfully. Full stop. Okay, so it only takes one argument. So let's do that more than once. And that should be enough. 60, 70, 80, and 90. So, have a numbers list is not defined. Wait, what? I thought I made this numbers list, not number list. Honestly did. Is that gonna work now? Should do. There we go. So our list, the one that we made, was all of the numbers from 1 to 20, and then we had 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. What should also have been printed to our output was the for loop was run successfully, but it wasn't. So how we can fix this is by putting print in front of the string. That's an error that I made and took me a good 10 minutes to figure out. By the way, I'm sorry that I'm not recording on Codecademy. Codecademy just wasn't loading for some reason, so I don't know why. It might be my fault, but I actually don't think it is because every other web page or website loads for me. So now when we run this, everything should be run properly. So including the for loop was run successfully. And as we can see, it is. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions, please also post them down in the comments down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more of Python videos. And dislike if you didn't like the video and tell me how I could improve for next time. So until the next Python lessons on Codecademy, goodbye.